Oh, okay. So, it's 3 a.m. right now. I've been procrastinating making this commentary for about 4 hours, and, well, I just realized. Guess what?
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
Anyway, besides the exciting news of it being Wednesday and me being able to use that joke, yeah, we're here to, embark upon another childhood story. Yes, I'm going to be discussing the time that I had my first truly existential, life-threatening scare, okay? Basically, this was the first time that I genuinely feared for my life and realized how, vast the world is and how much is not in my control as a child. Before we start the story, I'd just like to address one thing. First of all, the video I made titled Growing Up, I had to upload it 3 separate times. A lot of you probably saw that. And it's rather unfortunate. I don't know why, but I had really bad luck when I was rendering it, and I trusted that I rendered it properly, and I just put it on YouTube, and twice there was a blatant failure. And for those of you who commented on the original videos that are no longer, public, here are some of my favorite comments that's just... Actually, some of them are good feedback, and then you got Drew Iglesia. Just, it sucks too because his comments they're really feisty, man. Because it's so, like, I thought about it, like I looked at it and I was like, oh man, and then I realized you're probably right, and that. Anyway, so yes, this is the story of, well, the first time, more or less, that I kind of had a truly life-threatening, or so it felt, scare. Where basically I realized as a child for the first time that the world is a very vast place, and there are a lot of factors that I am in no way involved in that could completely just devastate or alter my life. So yes, let's dive right into this exciting topic. I love going back to my elementary school days because I still am friends with a lot of my elementary school buddies. Like, a lot of us, we're still very, very close friends, and that's not something that a lot of people have. And so when I tell stories like this, I get little nostalgic recollections. And then when I see my buddies, they, say, "Hey, Chris, I remember that, man. That was good. This is a good one." Or if I talk bad about them, they roast me and they get a little pissed off. But no hard feelings, guys. Just... it's all in good fun, okay? So, this was in the 6th grade, okay? I was approximately 11 years old, 7 years ago to be exact. And so, yeah, it was a nice, brisk, sunny June morning, and overall it was a nice day. I was in elementary school, and it was really, really, really close to the end of the year. Like, we're talking about a week away from summer coming. And let's all be honest, okay? All of you who remember elementary school, the last weeks leading up to summer are awesome. They're literally awesome because you don't have exams, you don't have anything to worry about. All you have to do basically is go there, play board games, you get your attendance up, check mark, Chris is here, okay, good, and you just play board games, go to recess, eat lunch, and, anticipate the summer. And if you're me, anticipate a lot of indoors video game playing. So yeah, basically what was happening on this specific day was, well, our teacher just gave us free time. There was nothing to do, and, well, she brought a bunch of board games, or maybe we brought them ourselves. I don't know. Some of the minor details are a bit hazy, but all I know is that for the majority of the day, I was playing a game called Risk, okay, with a small group of people who weren't my closest friends. Actually, one of them, Alex, I was playing with, I remember specifically. But yeah, I just, everyone knew each other. It was elementary school. It was a class of like 22 or something. So, we all knew each other. And so yeah, we were playing Risk, which is like, one of those board games, strategy, conquer the world type of games. I was totally sucking at it. I had never played it before. They tried to explain me the rules. I really wasn't in that kind of mood to like pay attention and kind of, actually think about things. I was more focused on, just having a good time. And I basically got dominated. I remember I controlled a small amount of Asia, and I tried to team up with my friend Alex, and like we did that for a little bit, and then I realized he was growing a lot bigger than me, and then I'm pretty sure that he just destroyed me. So there's that. And yeah, once I was basically kicked out of the game, I just kind of sat there and watched other people play, kind of tried to understand the game a bit better, maybe I'd get in on round 2 or whatever. But since I wasn't, technically in the game anymore, I also kind of, looked around the room. Other people were playing other board games and different types of games. There was a group of my good friends in the back of the classroom playing like poker or maybe 21 or something like that, some kind of gambling game that I guess they usually wouldn't let you play, but our teacher was actually pretty cool. I'm not for any real reason, but I'm just gonna call her like Mrs. Dolphin. She was just basically off in the front of the class or wherever. So basically I noticed all these people playing different games around me. I was kind of looking around for a game maybe that I would be better at, but I realized quickly that nobody wanted me to play games with them. No, I'm joking, but like everyone's games were kind of in session, right? Like I could only really watch. So I just went back to the Risk game because that's kind of where I started, and I was hoping to get a seat in the next game. And then it happened. I'm sitting down watching these kids play a game about conquering the world, and almost as an act of irony, the world responds. I'm just gonna cut to the chase. A big earthquake happened. Now, we've all probably experienced those kinds of earthquakes where you like feel a rumble and you're like, well, what's that? Oh, whoa, it's an earthquake, oh. But this was more like, what the fuck? Now, at the point when the ground started shaking, we were not aware of what was happening, okay? And so, let me just put you into context the scary attribute of this. I guess most people right now are thinking, man, it was an earthquake. What's so bad about an earthquake? Sure, it was a big earthquake, but it lasts a second, man. What's wrong? This was a good 10 seconds, okay? And that's a long time for the ground to be shaking, especially when you're not expecting it. Now, what makes this infinitely more scary is this. My elementary school was located directly beside a train track, okay? Like literally very close. What makes it worse is that my classroom at the time, for the grade 6s, which were the eldest of the kids at the school, the oldest grade, literally from the window, we were about 5 to 10 meters away from the train tracks. So you could see like the trains passing by middle of the class. It was kind of cool. Sometimes, we'd be excited. Oh, train's coming. Yay. Random interruption. Yay. Look at the train, kids. Yeah. Whatever. But in this context, half of the people in the room interpreted this shaking as an earthquake. But the other half, I'd venture to say the smarter and more perceptive and easy to observe half, instantly thought that it was the train. And of course, the train isn't usually that aggressive, right? Like, it's a very, very small vibration, not this. So the people who thought it was the train thought that it had derailed or something and was gonna smash into our classroom. Now, this is basically where the Risk players and the card players differed, because I'd say that most of the Risk players just interpreted it as an earthquake, okay? Me included. I completely didn't, I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I'm not that quick to perceive things. It's unfortunate. It doesn't mean I'm dumb, but I'm just, whatever. It takes me a second to kind of, to process things. But, most of the Risk players just kind of like stood up and were like, whoa, what's going on? The card players, on the other hand, seem to all be in sync for some reason because I believe 2 of the card players immediately ran out of the room. And it was a little bit funny because one of the card players was a guy who I'll call Muscles because, like, even at the time he was, a big kid and he's a decent childhood friend of mine, and I know him now, and he's, like, built like a tank. Like, he's a big guy. I would not want to get into a fight with him. All my friends who were there know who I'm talking about. But yeah, he was the one, okay, this big-ass dude who everyone thinks is, like, a tough guy or whatever. He was the first one who immediately ran out of the room, like, chicken with his head cut off, like, immediately bolted out of the room. And he was followed by most of the card players, a little bit more reluctantly, mind you. They weren't as, quick thinking. I mean, we were all scared, especially, like, me and myself. I will admit, I was pretty scared, man. Everyone in that room was just completely shocked for the 10 seconds while it was shaking. And then after, when it was all calmed down, okay, a few pieces actually fell off some board games, which is, that means it was quite a big, rumble. And everyone kind of, instead of calming down, they got even more scared. Because immediately what happens after something as, quick and scary as that, it usually is that you wonder what it was. Because you don't immediately know. We didn't know that it was an earthquake. It could have easily been the train derailing, of course. It could have just missed our school by a little bit. We don't know. And so the teacher did the classic, like, everyone calm down, like, get under the desks or whatever the hell, because I think you're supposed to do that in an earthquake. And yeah, from there it was just like one of those spooked out days that it went from, everything's comfortable, life's great, to, oh man, what was that, man? Like, oh, I don't know. Like, no one is really comfortable. Everyone's kind of unnerved and nervous. I'd say that the meanest thing about that was Muscles, the guy who bolted out of the classroom, actually got, like, decently roasted as being like a kind of a chicken or whatever for running away. But in retrospect, he was the smartest one by far. Literally by far, because the fact that, first of all, he perceived it as being the train derailing immediately is very smart, because I didn't. And secondly, the fact that he literally started running almost immediately as it started shaking is very impressive. It shows some great reaction time and some very smart thinking, because if you're thinking a train is just derailed and you stay in that classroom, you're not brave, you're dumb, okay? Like, I'm sure he liked us as classmates, but I'm sure he wouldn't be willing to die with us, Anyway, so that was the meanest kind of thing that came of it, but the funniest or the kind of weirdest thing that came of it was that after the earthquake ensued, the guys who were playing cards, right? Just thinking about this, man. The guys who were playing cards in the corner in the back of the room, they started this weird conspiracy theorist like cult kind of thing. It only lasted a day. But it lasted like, a good 3 or 4 hours. And it was just kind of funny in retrospect because everyone was spooked, right? And so these guys who have creative imaginations, I'll name them, my friend Carlos, Dustin, Paul, and Muscles. The only reason I'm calling him Muscles is because he has the same name as my friend Alex. So, it just doesn't really, work very well if there's two Alexes. Yeah, but they were all still in the back. But now they made this claim, right? They made this claim that they were playing 21 and that someone had gotten 3 sixes in a row and then the earthquake occurred, okay? And being like gullible 11-year-olds, a lot of people started eating it up. Not gonna lie, I kind of ate it up a little bit. It's unfortunate to admit, but like I kind of, got a little bit into that. So I sat at their table and they started like playing cards, and it was the dumbest thing ever, the most 6th grader thing ever. But we basically, what happened was we would just start pulling cards in threes and seeing what we got, and we kept like, 11, 9, switch them around, 9, 11.
Wait, are you serious? Oh, man.
It's a
I'm
song,
gonna
man.
die.
Whoa.
Oh my God. Satan has come to
What
this
does that
world.
mean, man? What's going
God.
on, man?
What?
Yeah, so it basically went on like that for the rest of the day, and I went home a little bit spooked as well. My mom was telling me how she had my younger brother Dennis, and when the earthquake started happening, like cups fell over and like a glass shattered in that, and so they went outside, which is smart, which is what you're supposed to do. But yeah, overall, that was just kind of the first time that I actually thought about dying and how random it could be. And I do find it ironic that we were playing Risk, right? This game of global, size, and then a global kind of occurrence, something that happens every single day, but most people don't think about regularly, happens. And yeah, that's really the only explanation for it. It's just it happens. Things happen. I don't remember the specific size of the earthquake. Here, I'm gonna look it up just to see. Yeah, just found the article. It was 2010. The magnitude was 5.2, which is very, it's pretty big. If you don't think it's big, it's big. And it was 22 kilometers in depth, which is very significant because that's deep, okay? And that means it had a much larger quake, okay? Yeah, and they had to, evacuate the city parliament or whatever, like some kind of official, all the government buildings or whatever, they had to evacuate them. Yeah, it was a pretty serious earthquake. And anyway, is there really a message from this story? Not really. The only real message is that life sometimes takes you by surprise, and well, the way you react to these surprises can obviously have, a big effect on your life. So if there's one message I can pull from it, when a shocking moment occurs, try and think fast and run out of the room. Okay? I think we should all take a nice, lesson from muscles on our quick thinking, okay? Sometimes the cowardly thing to do is the smart thing to do. People will not call you a coward if you survive from running while other people die for not. And yeah, other than that, this kind of dragged on. I do like going on tangents and doing whatever. I just like having fun with my commentaries. If you like that style, like the video, possibly subscribe for more videos like it. And yeah, let's do what every big YouTuber does as a joke, but I'm doing it for real. Let's go for 20 likes. Yep, I'm genuinely, that's a genuine goal of mine, unfortunately. It's a sad part of my life. One last comment, for those of you dedicated listeners who are still listening, there's actually a new YouTube feature where I can make people moderators for my channel, which is awesome, for the comments, okay? Now, I'm not big enough for the comments to get out of hand and for me to need moderators, but if any of you dedicated listeners are out there right now, leave a comment, asking me to make you a moderator, and I might do that. As a moderator, I assume you will be able to, delete comments. Maybe you'll have a little badge beside your name or something like that. And yeah, it's just a cool way to prove that you're a dedicated listener, and I know you are. So yeah, leave a comment if you're willing to be a moderator. It'd be cool. And maybe in future that'll come in handy. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll talk to you later. Peace out.
It's still going! My God, Satan is coming to this place!